Hello guys, today I just want to give you some insight about your first chapter in your supplementary reader, that is the third level. The third level is a short story written by Jack Finney, and it deals with chiefly two themes. One is science fiction and the other is getting rid of anxiety, fear, insecurity and all those feelings that are caused in the modern world. So, the protagonist or the hero of the piece is a guy called Charlie. And Charlie is ridden by all these problems of the modern world: fear, insecurity, anxiety, and all these things. And he needs an escape from these problems. Remember, time travel is something that has intrigued people or interested people for centuries. There are various books written on this theme, and there are also various movies that have been shot on this particular theme of time travel. Uh, Take my advice, you could read a book called The Time Machine, written by H.G. Wells, which is one of the masterpieces on this theme. Anyway, coming back to our story, Charlie is a person who daily commutes to work or goes to work taking the underground train, what you today call a metro in India. It has existed for many years in America. And one of the terminals, what's the terminal of a railway station? The terminal of a railway station is the last stop of the train, where the railway line ends. For example, in India we have different terminals like the Victoria terminus, now called as Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj terminus in Mumbai, or you have the New Delhi terminus, you have the Howrah terminus, you also have the Sialda terminus in Calcutta, you have the MGR terminus in Chennai, you have Trivandrum. All these are terminals. The Grand Central Station is also such a terminal. Unlike our metro stations, the Grand Central has got two different levels, or you could say two different floors. Because there are not many platforms available, the station has been built at two different levels. So there is the first floor and the second floor. So you can commute between these two different levels and catch trains for different destinations. So Charlie usually commutes by the first or the second level. And one day what happens is, he travels through these one or two levels and walks through different corridors and passages, and he gets lost. An underground railway station comprises of many subways, many tunnels, many corridors, and it's not easy to remember your way. So what Charlie does is, though he commutes daily, one particular day he gets confused and he keeps walking along these corridors and he reaches a different place altogether which he is not familiar with. And as he is walking through this corridor, he finds that the people are dressed a bit differently. He gets a little bit confused, but he travels along and he finds himself in a totally different and strange atmosphere. He has reached the third level. So when he sees the things around him, his curiosity increases. He sees that there are fewer ticket windows. Normally, when you go to any railway station, you have many ticket windows where people queue up and buy their tickets. Maybe 3, 4, 5. If you go to bigger stations like Delhi or Mumbai, you'll find as many as 49 to 50 ticket windows. Now, in this particular place, he finds that there were very few ticket windows. And not only that, he saw that the place was very, very dull. It was not very bright. It was completely dull. So when he looks at the lighting, he finds that they were not electric lights. Actually, they were gas lights, which means electric lights were not yet in circulation. So he was looking at these glass lights and the flame was flickering. And then he sees the people around him. He sees that the people around him were wearing a completely different type of dress. They were wearing leg of mutton sleeves. Leg of mutton sleeves means a little bit loose garments. Understand? They were wearing a different type of hat. And the men, they had handlebar mustaches. Handlebar mustaches means like the handlebar of a car, or of a bike rather. Understand? So they were having these handlebar mustaches, and he was totally confused. Where was he? He was the people were dressed differently. The lights were different. The ticket windows were fewer. So he walks along the platform, and he sees people were talking about different things that he was not familiar with. And then he finds a stack of newspapers. If you go to railway stations or any junctions in the morning, you will find there are people selling newspapers. So normally in railway stations you find bookstalls, and bookstalls will be selling newspapers. He looks at these newspapers, and he finds that there was one particular newspaper there. It was called The World. And now he understands where he was, because The World was not published for many, 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 many years. It had stopped long ago. And now he sees that The World newspaper is still being published. Immediately he understands that he has somehow traveled back in time. He has traveled back in time. He has undergone time travel. Something that we always want to do. Either we want to see the future or we want to see the past. And Charlie has successfully undergone time travel. He has gone back to the year 1894, and the date he gets from the newspaper The World. And then he realizes that the people then were much more happier, because it was before both the world wars were fought. The First World War was fought between 1914 and 1918, and the Second World War was fought between 1939 and 1945. So it was actually after these two world wars were fought that the world underwent many political changes. During these wars, lots of people were killed. Politically, everything changed. Geographical borders were redrawn. So, overall, these wars were not a very happy incident to remember. And many people lost their lives. It was because of these wars that people started having a fear of war in their mind. They had a fear of being killed. They had a fear of their life. They had a fear about their future. And lots of anxiety set in. Understand? They were also having some kind of insecurity and fear. A fear due to which, they never could become completely happy at that time. Now, he has reached a time, 1894, where both these wars had not yet been fought. And if both these wars have not been fought, naturally the world was a very much different place. In fact, it was a very happy place, and it would be a place where people would find it very, very happy to live. So, Charlie realizes that this is the right place for him to be. And what he does is, he tries to go to a place called Galesbury, where he wants to set up, some farming with hay and all that, which he has read about long ago. Now he realizes that his dream can actually become a reality. He goes to this ticket window and he wants to buy a ticket. But when he goes to buy the ticket and he gives the money to the clerk sees this money and he looks at him with suspicion, because the money in 1894 is not like the money of the present time. The notes have undergone a change, and he is actually giving the clerk notes which had not yet been printed. So naturally the clerk will not be familiar with those notes, and immediately the clerk tells him, "This is not money, mister, and if you're trying to cheat me, you'll land in the police station." So immediately Charlie realizes his mistake, and what he does is, he feels that he should not be in jail, because whether it is in 1894, whether it is the present age, jail is not a pleasant thought. Jail is not a nice place to be. So immediately he quickly retraces his steps and he goes back to the second level and the first level. He exits the third level. Now he goes to his home and tells his wife, Lucia, that he has found the third level. He also tells his friend Sam that he has found the third level. And both of them tell him that this is only his imagination. There is nothing called the third level. It is because of your anxiety and your fear, and it is because of your insecurity that you feel that you have found the third level. And there is nothing called the third level that exists. But Charlie is very sure that he has found the third level. So what he does is, he convinces his wife that he has found the third level. Understand? And immediately he tells her the advantages of being in the third level, because 2 wars have not yet been fought and the world is a much happier place and there will be no fear. People will not be afraid. It's much more peaceful. People are much more friendly and it will be very happy to be there. So what Charlie does is, because he could not buy tickets, the first thing he wanted to do was he wanted to buy money. What he does is, he takes his old notes, almost $300, and he goes to, a place that sell antiques things. You know what is antique? Antique means olden things. And he goes there and he wants to buy old money. So when you're buying olden notes or old stamps or something old, you have to pay a premium. For example, if you give 300 rupees, you will not get 300 rupees, or in this case dollars. If you give $300, you will not get $300. You have to pay a premium, which means if you give $300, you might get something like $200 or $250. So he gets this $250 and he makes a future plan to go to the third level. And he wants to go and look for the third level once again, and he wants to go back to the future. Back to the future. Understand? And taking all the money he has drawn out of the bank, he rushes to the Grand Central Station and he starts searching for the third level. But he could never again find the third level. You remember what actually happened was, he had walked along different corridors and he had reached a place called the third level. He did not know how he reached it. He had taken probably the wrong turn somewhere and he reached a different dimension and he reached the past. But again, when he searched for the third level, he could not find it. So heartbroken, he came back and he told his wife that he had not found the third level. And his wife Lucia became very much worried because she thought there was something wrong with him. There was something psychiatrically or psychologically wrong with him. But after some time, he managed to convince his wife that there is something called the third level. Now he and his wife both started searching for the third level. All this time, his friend Sam, who was also a psychiatrist, would tease him, saying that there is nothing called the third level. Understand? And this is just a dream. It's just a dream. It's a dream wish fulfillment. There is nothing called the third level. And when Charlie and his wife Lucia start searching for the third level, Sam never encouraged them. He always kept on discouraging them, said that all this is caused due to the worry in your mind, this is caused due to the insecurity in your mind, this is caused due to the fear in your mind, and he would always discourage them. So finally, they kept on searching for the third level and they could not find it. And they abandoned their search. After some time, Charlie went to his stamp collection. He had a hobby, stamp collection. Many of us have different hobbies like stamp collection, coin collection, all these things. And Sam had something called a stamp collection. Charlie had something called a stamp collection. And always his psychiatrist Sam used to tell him that you have the stamp collection because you're trying to escape from reality. Collecting stamps is a way to escape from reality. It is diverting your mind from your present problems. Now, when he was going through his stamp collection, he found a first day cover, which should not be there. Now, what is a first day cover? It's a very important point you have to take down. First day cover is an envelope. When a stamp is released by the government. On a particular day, the government, announces that we are going to release a stamp, probably in honor of some great person or a monument or whatever it is. So these stamp collectors who are very much interested in collecting stamps, what they would go is, that particular day when the stamp is to be released, they would go to this post office and they would buy the stamp. And they would take an envelope, and sometimes they kept blank paper inside it, sometimes they kept nothing inside it, and they pasted this cover and they addressed it to themselves. And they would paste this newly released stamp, and they would post this cover to themselves. So when normally when you do this and you put this inside the post box, the postman will take this all the letters. He'll take all the letters and he will stamp that particular day's date. So similarly, the date will be stamped on that cover. So the postmark will prove that the stamp collector has purchased the stamp on the date of its release. So every enthusiastic stamp collector will actually have lots of first day covers. First day covers are covers on which stamps are stuck. Stamps released on that particular day are stuck and addressed and posted to themselves, so that they can prove that they purchased the stamp on the day of its release. So Charlie was going through his stamp collection and he found a first day cover which had not come to his attention before. And he was curious, he was confused, and he opened this first day cover. Normally, first day covers are empty or they contain blank paper, but here there was a particular paper. In fact, it was a letter written to Charlie's grandfather. The stamp collection was Charlie's grandfather's collection. So naturally, the first day cover also would be addressed to his grandfather. And it was a letter which was written to Charlie. See, there should be no letter written to Charlie on that particular day, because Charlie did not exist in 1894. And the postmark was the year 1894. And it was written in the letter. The letter was written by Charlie's close friend Sam. Sam, his psychiatrist, who had all along ridiculed him and teased him for searching for the third level, Sam had actually found the third level. And he had listened so much to the place called Galesburg and to the harvest and the hay business and all that. And he had written a letter that he had found the third level. And he was very happy there. And he was asking Charlie and his wife to join him. So that is how the story ends, with Charlie and his wife once again searching for the third level. So Sam, his psychiatrist, who ridiculed him and teased him for searching for the third level, actually finds the third level. And because people did not have any mental problems or fear or anxiety, a psychiatrist did not have any work in 1894. So he set up a business of hay and fodder in the third level. Sam, his psychiatrist, could not go back to his profession of psychiatry because nobody needed a psychiatrist in those days, and he set up a business of hay and fodder in Galesburg. So that is how the story ends. Now, if you read the text, you will find many questions come to your mind. First question is, does the third level actually exist? The third level in this world does not exist because time travel is not possible. At least till date, we have not discovered whether time travel is possible. But since the story is a fictitious story, it's a fiction, time travel is possible. Now the story is highly symbolic in nature. What is actually the third level? Is it just the past? Is it just a person traveling into the past? No. The third level is a symbol of escape from your anxiety, from your fear, from your insecurity, and reaching a place where all these things don't exist. The third level actually does not exist, but it does exist in the story. And in the story, traveling back in time is a symbol of the modern world's unhappiness. And when you have the First World War and the Second World War not having happened, naturally the world will be a very, very happy place. So, Charlie, who discovers the third level, is ready to stay back in the third level. It is the symbol that human beings are ready to go back to the past, where they do not want to worry about war, where they do not want to worry about insecurity or fear, where they want to be much happier. But it's only a dream. It's only a waking dream fulfillment. It's a wish fulfillment. However, it does not actually happen. The story is a symbol of all the repressed emotions inside the minds of human beings, the way they want to escape from their current problems in the modern world, and they want to go back to a time when all these problems did not exist. For example, you can compare this when you watch a child going to LKG or UKG. You will find that this child, you will think inside your mind, oh my god, that child is so happy. He doesn't have to learn anything but A, B, C, D. Don't you feel like that? Yes, that's what we all feel. And you feel, oh, I wish I was once again in LKG. I wish I was happier. So the past is always happier compared to the present and the future. The future, there is always anxiety. What will happen to me tomorrow? But the past is always a happier. Childhood is a very happy time. Understand? And similarly, Charlie wants to go many years back where there is no worry and no fear. However, he does not succeed in finding the third level once again. But his psychiatrist, who kept advising him, there is nothing called the third level, it's only your imagination. His psychiatrist finds the third level. In other words, his psychiatrist was also burdened with these problems, the problems of worry, fear and insecurity and anxiety. And Sam himself wanted to find an escape from him, and symbolically he finds an escape by reaching the third level. So please go through the lesson, and if you have any other doubts about it, please feel free to ask in the group. Thank you very much.